I can't even believe these words are about to come out of my mouth because I don't take this lightly, but even opposing fans are stating this. Even Georgia fans are stating this. Kalen DeBoer is recruiting just like Nick Saban. What I think should really scare people isn't the recruits. It's the fact that you have young blood, new young blood at that, in this program that's hungry. The Alabama haters aren't going to like this one, and when I say they aren't going to like it, well, that's not me projecting or assuming. That's them coming out and saying it. By the way, we're not going to do no intro, none of that. I don't got time to waste. You don't got time to waste either. We're getting straight into it. Obviously, if you haven't picked up on it by now, we're here to talk about Kalen DeBoer and what he's been doing at Alabama these past couple of days and these past couple of weeks. Hope you're having a great start to your week. Hope you had a great Tuesday. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. By the way, now I'm thinking about it, I hope you're staying cool as well, because I feel like it's been hot everywhere in America, and it's not even July yet. About a week ago, somebody in the grocery store told me Alabama is currently on preheat. They're 100% right, and this is just one of those years where you can tell it is going to be a blazing hot summer. I can't speak for you, but where I reside, which is in northern Alabama, it hasn't even rained in a couple of weeks. I could go on and on about that, but this is not a weather channel. This is a football channel last time I checked, so let's get back on track here. I'm going to start on this video with a question. Do y'all remember around 5 months ago when Nick Saban retired? Everybody was talking about how the dynasty's over. Finally, Alabama, they're falling off. I thought we'd never see the day. And what did we do? It feels like dang near every single day we was making a live reaction video in the man cave talking about the situation at hand. It was almost like a mini docu-series we was doing on the channel of just everything that was going on. From Saban leaving to a bunch of starters leaving like Isaiah Bond. We had 4- and 5-star recruits decommit. Then we had Caleb Downs leave, Julian Sayin. Then we had Kalen DeBoer come in. We talked about all that. I'm sure some of you remember that. That's also around the time frame when your boy Matt was snowed in, so I had nothing to do but watch all that and talk about it. And that's the one beauty of YouTube. It's as close to a time capsule we're ever going to get, because everything I've stated back then 5 months ago, it is documented on the channel. Some of you may or may not remember. If you don't, I'm going to inform you. The one thing I stated in every single video is I'm not worried. I stated numerous times, yes, it's not looking good right now. However, I'm not pushing the panic button. And I'm not writing Alabama off. Don't get it twisted. Like, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, Alabama's cooked and it's over for them. I'm not going to do all that because people are acting like we're on a 4-game losing streak. We're in the offseason, man. We're going to have some guys leave. A lot of guys leave probably, and a lot already have. But we also may pick up a few here and there. You never know. But here's what I'll say for the situation as it is right now. It's not looking good, okay? You can't sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not looking good. However, with all that being said, I am not pushing the panic button just quite yet. Not going to do it. I'm going to give Kalen DeBoer a shot. Give him some time. Like I said, we are 0-0. We haven't lost any games with him as a head coach. I'm going to see him out, okay? I got to see what he does before I, quote-unquote, push the panic button. Unless DeBoer just F's this up, I'm talking about lays a fat egg and F's it up completely, which, by the way, just between me and you, I don't think it's going to happen. Alabama isn't going nowhere. Look, I get it. To you watching this video, I know that's not what you want to hear. But it's the reality of the situation. And somebody needs to tell you this stuff. It's not going to be these nerds on ESPN. So I got to do it. And I don't mind doing it. I don't know if some of y'all thought I was just saying that to say that. I'm trying to be funny or something. But no, I firmly believed it. You have got to learn the law of averages in life. You got to. It's going to change your perspective on everything. And also, you can't be an emotional reactor to any situation. You can't look at Saban leaving, Isaiah Bond leaving, Julian Sayin leaving, Caleb Downs leaving, all these guys leaving left and right and go, crap, Alabama's done. College football dynasty is over. They're going 7-5 next year. No, you can't do that. You have to view it from this standpoint, and this is for any person or team that might go through this in the future. And this isn't just with college football. This is for your life. You look at it like, okay, this is not very good right now. Matter of fact, things are looking bad today. However, just because they're looking bad today doesn't mean it's going to look bad in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months from now. I haven't decided. I might wind up throwing in a couple of those video clips just to give you a quick refresher. But if you remember, you remember. Being able to see the actual pain in Bama fans realizing they finna be on the same level as every other school is the best comedy I've seen in years. The Alabama standard. What you meant to say was the Saban standard. I'll get back to that in just a second. I know Nick is somewhere rolling right now. All these Bama fans thought it was because it's Bama. Here's another one. Seeing a Bama fan experience football like the rest of the fan base has to is pure justice. It's just perfect, and it's going to get better. Yeah, you're sadly mistaken, buddy. I'll address both of those comments because they're pretty much saying the same thing, how Alabama's run's over and Bama fans are back down, I guess, to what they're saying is reality. And maybe that does happen. We don't know. We can just talk about it and try to predict. But said before, I'm going to say it again. I think you got to be slightly delusional to just automatically assume Alabama is going to go back to going 7-5, 8-4. And I'll tell you straight up, I don't think that's going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's just not. I say all that to say this. Although the season hasn't started, although Kalen DeBoer hasn't won a game yet, he is currently 0-0, he couldn't have got off to a better start as the head football coach at Alabama. I can't even believe these words are about to come out of my mouth because I don't take this lightly, but even opposing fans are stating this. Even Georgia fans are stating this. Kalen DeBoer is recruiting just like Nick Saban. Look, I get it. Y'all are going to say, oh, well, that's just Matt saying that because he's a Bama fan. This is a Georgia account tweeting this out. Currently, as to when I'm speaking, I'm sure some of you may have or may not have heard about it, but Kalen DeBoer, he's putting on a masterclass in the recruiting landscape. No lie, it feels like every time I've logged onto Twitter these past couple of weeks, you see an update of Alabama getting a 4 or 5-star recruit. And y'all know this. Your boy Matt doesn't necessarily like to talk about recruiting a lot on this channel. It's never something I put too much value into unless we're talking about a top recruiting class or some big-time major 5-star recruits. I could care less where any of these young men want to play their college football at because that is a personal decision. As to why some fans get so involved with it to the point where they're getting upset when a certain recruit decommits from their college, I have no idea. I can never be that way. The point is, if you ever hear me talk about recruiting on this channel, just know it's some big-time and important stuff. I know some of you may be in the dark here saying, okay, Matt, I get that DeBoer's recruiting really well, but could you enlighten me a little bit more? Could you give me some examples? For starters, let's take a look at this. A couple of days ago, 5-star wide receiver Caleb Cunningham got a crystal ball prediction to go to Alabama. If you don't know what a crystal ball prediction is, it's relatively simple. It's where these recruiting analysts and experts, they predict a kid to go to a certain school. To give you some more perspective, I'd say these crystal balls, about 9 out of 10 times they're right. These recruiting experts, they don't miss too many times, so that's definitely a good sign if you're a Crimson Tide fan. But hold on! If that wasn't enough for you, there's more. A current 5-star running back that is committed to Ole Miss deleted all of his Ole Miss posts on his Instagram. Which, yeah, you could say, well, that doesn't mean anything. However, Alabama's current 4-star quarterback recruit, Kalen Russell, who we did a video on a couple of days, he quote tweeted it and put the, what would you call that emoji? Like the hand over the face, looking emoji, something like that. You get what it is. I guess you'd say that's kind of like not a peekaboo emoji, but it's kind of like he's hinting at something. So that's pretty interesting. But if that wasn't enough for you, there's more. Steve Wilfong, who is a very reliable source and recruiting expert, he believes Alabama is in the lead for 5-star wide receiver Khalid Lockett and 5-star wide receiver Derek Meadows. Yeah, that's crazy. That means Alabama is in the lead for currently not 1, not 2, but 3 5-star recruits at the wide receiver position alone. And then today, what they're labeling as a Fong bomb, I kind of like that, that's a little catchy, Steve Wilfong has now stated that that same running back we talked about that is currently committed to Ole Miss, he is going to flip to Alabama. Here's what a person who works for On3 had to say about everything DeBoer's been doing recently. Alabama's operation may be different than it was under Saban, but a bunch of the best players are still flocking to Tuscaloosa, and that should scare the HE double hockey sticks out of the rest of the country. Oh yeah, almost forgot to mention. A couple days ago, they also picked up 4-star offensive lineman Michael DeBoer. As to where it stands currently, Kalen DeBoer and Alabama are second in recruiting, and it's not even close. They have dang near a 17-point lead over Oregon. They are also only 7 total points behind Georgia, and you can best believe if Alabama gets a couple more 5-star recruits, yeah, they'll be in first. Now, I'm not going to talk about that too much. Can Alabama overtake Georgia? Because to me, it's not too big of a difference. Moral of the story is whether Alabama finishes first, second, third, fourth, or fifth, I don't see any possibility of them dropping out of the top 5. They're still recruiting just like they were when Saban was there. What's ironic about that statement is what was the biggest knock on DeBoer coming from Washington to Alabama. Oh, yeah, well, he's a proven winner, but he can't recruit in the Southeast. What's funny about that is those same people that were saying that, they're not even going to bring it up. They're going to act like they didn't even say it. But they were. Y'all know it. I tried telling people months ago, 5 months ago, when all this went down with Saban leaving, If you think Alabama football is going anywhere anytime soon, you're just being delusional. It's delusional thinking. Let me address this before I forget, because I know some people are going to run to the comment section and say, well, Matt, just because Alabama has a really good recruiting class, that doesn't amount to a hill of beans, because at the end of the day, you got to go out there and win the games. Hey, man, I agree. I agree 100%, because we saw it a couple years ago. A&M had the number one ranked recruiting class, and we saw how that turned out. But if you want to use that example, here's my rebuttal to that. They had a clown as a head coach at A&M that went by the name of Jimbo Fisher. That guy was a complete joke and fraud. You can't use the argument of, oh, well, this recruiting class doesn't matter because he's got to go out there and win the games, and have the same argument of, oh, well, yeah, he's a proven winner, but he can't recruit in the Southeast. You see what I'm saying? You're contradicting yourself. Eventually, at a certain point in time, you're going to have to come to terms with reality that Kalen DeBoer is a dang good football coach. Y'all do understand, right? He took Washington, which is a team that had far less talent than Alabama and Texas. He took Washington to the national championship game. I mean this in the most respectful way possible. Washington had a solid team, a solid group of guys, but they weren't like a Texas or Alabama from a talent standpoint. What do we preach on this channel? Winners win and losers lose. Everywhere DeBoer's been, Fresno State, Washington, you name it, all he's done is won games. What I think should really scare people isn't the recruits. It's the fact that you have young blood, new young blood at that, in this program that's hungry. You know who I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about the head coach, Kalen DeBoer. You think he doesn't hear all the noise? You think he doesn't hear all the critiques and criticism about him? He does, trust me. He's an ultimate competitor. It's why he took the job. You don't think he wants to prove all these naysayers wrong? I do. Don't get me wrong. I love me some old St. Nick. If he wanted to coach to the day he died, I wouldn't have minded to the slightest of bits. However, with that being said, we all saw this these past couple of years. He was losing that dog-like mentality. He was losing that edge just a little bit. And it wasn't by choice. He still got amped up at moments, but he wasn't like that young Nick Saban that had something to prove in the early 2010s. Somehow, someway, people are going to come up with an excuse to hate on Kalen DeBoer and Alabama for doing this, and I get it 100%. Because if there was a team that was dominating my favorite sports for 15-plus years, they lose their legendary head coach and they still are showing no signs of going anywhere, I'd be mad too. The people that hate Alabama, you have to understand their perspective. They don't actually hate really anything about the school, the players, the coaches, anything like that. They just hate them because they're the best. People are tired of them. Unfortunately, those same people are going to get even more tired of them because they're not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts on this down below. But